There is one thing in your packet, though, that I do want to demonstrate for you, so that way you understand what this is, because I feel that demonstrating this is going to give you a much greater understanding of what's called vocal registers and blending. These are two terms that are going to be very useful to demonstrate for you. So, vocal registers, what are those? It's the type of voice used while singing or speaking, and you can think of it much like gears in a car or a bicycle. Now, probably most of us drive an automatic car. However, the whole definition of an automatic car is that it automatically shifts from one gear to the other. There are vehicles where you would have to manually change the shifts in the car. So for those of you who are familiar with that, this is very much in the same fashion, that these registers of your voice are like gears in a car or a bicycle. You have to change them, and there are transitions between them. And blend is your ability to transition between these registers. And there are 4, as well as a bonus register that we are going to cover right now. So, fry voice. Fry voice is very rarely used in singing, especially contemporary singing, unless there's some type of style that you are trying to express. Maybe it's Buddhist Tibetan chanting, or maybe it's something like a Viking drone of some kind. It's usually associated with very low pitch, something like this. Something of that nature. That is a fry subtone. Sometimes this is used in very low choral pieces in order to get the sound out. So that is fry voice. That's a register. Fry register, rather. Chest voice. This is the most commonly used register. Most people speak in their chest voice. So this can be very narrow for some people and very, very broad for others. They can go very low in their chest voice, up to their midsection, up to a high midsection, or very high in the chest voice. And you can develop this flexibility over time. So keep that in mind. Now, moving on to the head voice. This is a register that is used on a regular basis in many genres. So, it allows singers to hit notes that are otherwise unhealthy to hit in chest voice. It's usually associated with higher pitches. So, for example, ah! That is a highly compressed head voice for you. Ah! It's slightly softer, but that is an example of head voice. Moving on to something that gets confused with head voice quite a bit. Falsetto. Falsetto, what that is Italian for false voice. The register is used frequently by operatic sopranos and even countertenors to reach notes that are usually associated with very, very high areas. Now, I'm going to demonstrate that and then talk about something else that will help clarify the relationship between pitch, notes, and registers. So, here's a demonstration of falsetto. So that is falsetto. Now, even though there is a strong association between pitch and vocal register, they are not completely dependent upon each other. And I'm going to demonstrate that by singing the same pitch in different registers. So, I'm going to sing a G4 in chest voice, in head voice, and in falsetto. Here we go. Chest voice. Ah! Head voice. Ah! Falsetto. Ooh. So hopefully That gives you a clarification of what vocal registers are and how they relate to pitch. As I said, strong correlation between the two. However, they can be independent of each other. So, I think it's important to take some time to talk about something that is called mixed voice, which in my experience, wrestling with the idea of what it is, I define that as a highly compressed head voice. That's what that is. Mixed tone can be used in a clean way with distortion. It's something that I depend upon a lot whenever I'm singing a very high part with my band. So with that said, I'm going to give you a demonstration of a mixed tone with some distortion, so that way you get an idea of what it sounds like. And then we're going to talk a little bit about where you can find it in popular music. So for example, that right there is a crunchy mixed voice, which there's not very much difference between which is a head voice, and a mixed voice. As you can see, there is a slight variation. Mixed voice is slightly louder, but it is simply a very highly compressed head voice. So, given that, you'll find this a lot in 80s music. A lot of like 80s hair metal uses this type of vocal styling. You can even find it with ensembles like Deep Purple, Def Leppard, Quiet Riot. Any of these, they usually employ this type of stuff. And it's very useful because it does not destroy the voice. It's actually a preserving factor. Iron Maiden's another one, by the way. That's a really good one. But this is a tool that can be used on a regular basis to get to certain points in your vocal range that would otherwise not be possible. So I did want to make that clear before we move on to anything else.